case, though. Now recording. Awesome sauce. Thank you, Vic. Okay, so, and I suspect Durante will be here shortly. He may still be having problems, may have forgotten. We'll see. I'll send him a little message here in a minute. But basically, what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over I use DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to show y'all some things. You can find a lot of things about DaVinci Resolve. Where's my share screen? There it is. Back. Let's go. Screens. There we go. Okay, so this is the DaVinci Resolve. Here's the deal. When we end, by the time we're done, by the time you're done with your first edit, this is what you'll have. You'll be done with your first edit. Now, you could start over from scratch every time. That's a pain in the ass, right? So I figured what I'd do is I'd show you. Notice all the edits. Man, that's a lot of edits for this 15-minute video. But I'll briefly kind of explain what's going on here. And then the reason why I thought I'd start here instead of a blank sheet is because, yes, you guys are going to see a blank sheet the first time you start editing. But after that, you're always going to come back to this, your last project. You can save individual projects and start new ones every time. But in this case, I specifically keep like a top 10s for me and a top 10 one for Durante. And now here, this is the last one. These are my subtitles. So I'm going to start off by just cleaning it up, okay? And I'm going to get us back to square one. So I'm going to delete that track. Now these guys right here, and you'll see, this will all make sense as you go along. And Ryan, by the way, Vic is actually recording this, and might be a sweetie and share that recording with you if you get the urge or the need. So these right here are my swooshes in and outs. So you can see. Number 10, the wasted years of praying instead of doing. So we've got a text, we've got a swoosh color thing, and then we've got two sound things. I really don't want to have to rebuild this every time. I don't want to have to go find all of those. No worries, Vic. We can figure this out. And here's the deal. This is all kind of impromptu this week, and I've been slammed. But next week, we're going to do this again, Wednesday and Thursday. I'm going to do, again, after the show, I'll have a script thing and an editing thing. And I'll use what I learned from this experience to try to make it better for you guys. I'm going to give a basic template as to how to make this top 10s video. And hopefully, like Ryan will be able to create her first top 10s video based on this. After that, it'll be like learning on her part and experimenting and having fun and doing other things with it. But we'll talk about that. And some of the things that people like Ryan who do TikTok understand the need to have all these cuts. There's a desire. You got to keep those people's attention, even if it's subconsciously through movements. Anyway, so I don't want to redo these cuts here every time. I don't want to have to keep doing them. So let me come here and I'll show you what I've got here. This is my introduction, my top 10s. This right here is, if you watched yesterday, we were talking about how I have I display part of the show. So this here I'm going to use again in the new one. So let me zoom in on this. And here in a minute, once I'm done doing this, you will see. Here we go. Let me see where I need to go. This morning show here on YouTube, it's a lot more lighthearted and fun than my long form videos. Okay, good. So starting here and all the way, I believe, to this one. Okay. Live, Monday through Friday, 9. All right, so I'm going to just grab these guys. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to grab them. Since I grabbed them all together, I'm going to right click and move them over there because I'm going to use that later. Now, this is one of my top 10s here. I'm going to save this set of top 10s here, my audio, my swoosh in, my swoosh out, my text. So whenever I start over again in a minute with the new thing, I'll have them. But I don't need all the rest of them. So I'm going to get rid of that. There's two things whenever you're doing an edit. Most softwares are kind of like this. I've highlighted all these items on the left. I want to get rid of them. There's two ways. If you hit the delete key, it deletes them and it shifts everything to the left. That can be disturbing and screw stuff up. Control Z will undo. Okay. Now, on the contrary, if you'll take this right here and you'll highlight them, and then you hit the backspace, it won't shift everything. And you'll see how that can be handy. Remember, there's two different ways of deleting stuff. Control Z brings it back. There's two different ways of deleting things. One is to highlight something. So here you'll see. If I go here and I get this guy right here, watch what happens. I'm going to get that and I'm going to hit the delete key. And you'll see it's going to tear all this up. It's going to screw crap up. Notice my sound now got it. What the hell just happened? You don't know. It removed me and it also removed some of the sound, but it didn't do it all. And it's just kind of super weird how it works. Let's delete here. Now everything else moves away. Watch this one here. Everything else moves. Now let's do this. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Now, if I go here and I hit backspace, nothing moves. See, let me undo that. Look at it again. Here, delete, shifts everything. Now you've screwed up your sound. Your sound is too close. It doesn't match. You moved your title and stuff. So I'm just saying, be aware there's a difference when you want to delete things in this software between backspace and delete. Many times you're going to want to do, especially if you're in and amongst things, you're going to not want to have all of this shift. So if like I say, this is a great example. If I delete that, it's going to shift all this. But if I want to, and I do this, we'll do this during the thing as I'm going the recording. It'll be the swish in. Now on with swish. Number one. Finally. Now you'll notice there's a cut here. And the cut that was here, I think I can even show you what was here. Let me just do this because this doesn't matter. We're just showing you stuff. That cut that was here, I can actually grab that and kind of show you the whole cut, the whole thing. And you can see where I actually had some breaths in here and I cut them out. Number one on our list, not leaving sooner. Or time. See how there's time. So I'd come in here and now what I want to do is I want to cut out this time and I want it to cut this. I don't want it to move any of this business. So I'll hit S on my keyboard. I'll hit a splice. I'll come over here. I'll hit S again, splice again. And now if I hit delete, what happens? It's going to cram all that stuff over and it's going to screw shit up. It's going to mess up my timing on my sound for my swoosh. See? But what I can do is I can highlight this, hit backspace, it deletes it, and now I just grab this and I move it and boom, done. So there's little tricks. That backspace thing is kind of important. Just remember there's a difference between delete and backspace. I know this is what I'm showing you here is kind of at the end of the video training part, but it starts at the beginning. One of the things I like to do, and I'll show you here in a minute, I like to set up quick keys to do some cuts and stuff. You'll see. So now let's go back to the very beginning. Now that we know, I just want to explain and show you guys the difference. And that Durante, you showed up late. And what I was telling people was that most of the time, you're going to show up and you're going to sit down. You're going to do a top 10s, right? So you're going to do your top 10s today. Next week, when you pop in, you should go back to your same top 10s that you did this week. And you've already got everything here. You just delete the stuff you don't need and start back over. With your own little template. That way you don't have to redo all these little things from scratch, kind of stuff. Like here's my show. I want to pull that out and I want to set that aside. Anyway, so we've got that. We pull those things out. Now, most of the time you're going to sit down and you're going to see your old template. So I pull out the things I use. Boom. I delete the things I don't need. Boom. I keep this right here. I don't need that. Now this right here is our end, right? You'll see that, but I don't need it. I can create that quite easily. Delete that. And all I really want is our sound. So I'm going to backspace so I didn't mess anything up. I can highlight all of these. And I'm going kind of fast, guys, for those who are interested. Next week, we're going to do this again and we'll record things. It's just kind of, Nunya, sorry. I've just been doing this for so long and I'm just basic. I'm super basic, So here's the thing. What we'll probably do, we'll try this. What coffee do I drink? All the coffee, apparently. I may even do it on, Chris doesn't last long. I may do it on a live stream YouTube next week, and that way I can save it on a YouTube stream and we can just have it as a regular. But like I say, this is just a trial run. So anyway, you can highlight all of these, right click them, choose link clips, and now wherever you move them, even if you click off them, you just click one and you can move it. So now I've got my artifacts that I want to save off to the side. This is my announcement, my commercial for the damn show that's going to go between the second and the first. If you watched yesterday's show, that shows up between the second and the first item on our list. So this is the kind of thing there, and then our sound, and you'll see how I'm going to use that. Now that you sit down at the computer, you've cleared out the items that you want to use. You're going to keep using. These are our reusable items. We can start from the beginning now. Now we start from the beginning. And so I'm going to let me go here to my content. These are our little tabs along the bottom. This is the ones you use to bring content in. I'm going to use this most recent one. And I'm going to just it's already in there. Let me not do that. Let me click over here. We'll go to, it's probably just easier because I don't know where they're at. Well, I'll work on this next week, guys, so I can show you in case you don't know how to find your content. But really, again, most of this can be found on the YouTubes. You can just go find videos on how to use DaVinci Resolve. Part of what I'm doing is showing specific things that are related to. Anyway, let's go back to here. He's here, so I'm gonna go there, and I can come here to my media pool. Click it. I get it off the screen so it doesn't get my business. Now, here's my media pool. I'm going to pull this down. You can see it's kind of bigger than that, and I don't want to screw up my stuff. So I can just pick a track that's over our stuff there. Let me zoom out now. And so I can take this stuff here and grab it all. And now we're back on our primary line. Again, next week, I'll be more prepared. Ha, you screwed that up, didn't you, Chris? Ha. Control Z fixes a lot. So now these things here are just the things I'm going to use in a minute. And you'll see what we're going to do whenever we get to them, okay? So I'm going to do this now for us. Do this. There's a lot of adjusting. Okay, so now we've got our raw video. This is my raw recording that I've put in where we're going to start from. Yeah, you didn't miss much. We just got started. So here's my raw recording. So as I'm going to go through, I've already started my recording. I'm going to go, and I use a lot of mouse and keyboard. On the keyboard, I usually have my hands on the ASDF, my left one on the ASDF. So now I want to grab this line, move this. This is our playhead. I'm going to move it to where I want to start. Now, this is what you could do. You could click, highlight it, or you don't even have to highlight it. You can just hit S, and it's going to split everything. Okay? Click it, delete this time because we want to get rid of it and we want everything to move to the left. Delete, and now our video starts.
Atheists, do you ever look back at your past?
Okay, we cut off the beginning. That was super easy. Let me go back. I'm going to Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Now, one of the things I'm going to teach you guys next week is this. This is kind of cool. It works, but it's also, let's see if I can make this bigger somehow for you. That's the wrong part. But it's also cumbersome. You have to come here. You have to click it in the right spot, highlight it. You don't have to highlight. I keep saying you have to highlight it because I'm used to highlighting it for reasons. But you click and then you have to here and you have to go through that. But there's an easier way. You can set it to where once it's highlighted, now I have a single click, a single press on the keyboard. My Q, I've got it set up to Q. And it automatically cuts and ripples to the left. This is, again, especially Durante, if you're starting to do some editing, you'll see where the ripple, this is going to come in handy. So watch what we're going to do. Now I'm going to play.
Atheists, do you ever look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe? Or worse?
Okay, here we have a breath. I want to get rid of that breath. And I'm going to not only get rid of the breath, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit. But we're going to start with getting rid of the breath. There's two ways. Obviously, S to cut. S to cut, or you can click this thing up here. When I first started, I would do this. I would come up here and I would hit this little cut symbol and I would come down here and cut, and then I would come back up here and I would, but you don't have to do that. Hit S to cut. S to cut. Now, delete, and we've made our breath is gone.
At some of the things you used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did.
I've got two breaths there, but we're not gonna draw. So just ignore that second. But you know what I mean. Now we've cut that breath
You
out.
used to believe, or worse,
Again, though, that's kind of cumbersome. Right now, I haven't. It's kind of too hard to show you without being prepared to show you how to set up this key to do the ripple effect that I just want you to know for next week. If you do this between now and then, you're just fine doing the cut, delete. Next week we'll set up the keys so you can do this. What I would do here is I'd start here, cut, hit an S, move my playhead over where I wanted it, and instead of cutting again, I would hit W, and it automatically cuts and removes all the way as much as you need. Okay,
and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse,
so
at some of the
now we've kind of established our first cuts. I'm going to go back to cutting it like you're going to cut it for this production. Okay, this is my little zoom in and zoom out. If you're not sure, most of you are pretty familiar. Ryan, if you've CapCut has something very similar. None of this is unfamiliar. It's just a different OS kind of situation. So now I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to cut it, cut. I want to delete it, just like you guys would. Now I'm going to go on to the next cut.
or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs.
All right. So now I've got a nice little cut there. I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut again. I screwed up. I did it my way. Cut and then delete. You'll get this next week. All right. So now we've got two separate cuts, and you can see our opening Christians right in their face, or atheists right in your
Do
face.
you ever look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse?
Okay. Now we've got two cuts, but it's the same length. So what I'm going to do is I want to highlight this guy, and I'm going to come up here to the inspector right here, inspector. Click inspector. That brings us our little transform panel. It looks complicated. It's fucking complicated, guys. But we only need a little bit of it, and we only by using just a little bit at a time, it makes it easy. All I'm going to do this time, you see them do it in TV shows all the time. We're just going to do a super tiny zoom in. Watch. Zoom in. Super tiny. Okay? Like that to the top of the head. Now, when I come over here, I'm going to put my playhead right there at the kind of the edge of one, and I'm going to use my keys, the little arrow keys. I'm going to go back and forth. One step back. Okay, it's not bad. What you normally like to try to do is when the zoom comes in, you try to keep that the eye, on your left, my right eye, sort of on the same level, and it won't look so distracting. So now we'll go.
Atheists. Do you ever look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs? If you were ever religious,
Now see how I feel like it looks much better. It's nice, and even though there's a cut there, you don't really notice that there's a cut there because of the change. And unless you move your body a lot, when you're doing this, you won't really notice the difference between the cuts. So let's watch that. We did the cuts again, minor. All right, so here we go.
past and
Default.
just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs. If you were
Okay.
ever religious,
Now
especially
let's go on a
deeply
bit. It's going to carry on we're going to do another.
religious, you probably know
Let's just do it at the breaths. Breaths are good places to cut at for continuity. That's usually when you're making a point, you take a breath and it looks good. So let's just see something, not always, but let's do it here. Cut, delete.
used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs. If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's
Okay, now I think personally for the flow of the story, I don't think that's a good place to cut. Maybe it was. Let's see.
because of those beliefs. If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably
It's
know
kind of too soon. I feel like that needs to be over here. So I'm going to hit Control Z. Control Z, if you're not familiar, my friends, is your friend. If you're on a Mac, Command C, a Z. Gosh, so he undid that cut, right? And now I'm going to move over here.
you probably
I'm going to cut, delete. Okay. Now here, I still have a breath, and those bug me, so I'll show you what to do about that in a minute.
If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, so now that looks better. So now what I'm going to do here, but I do want to get rid of that breath. So I'm going to come here. This is my favorite way to do it. You could just cut. I'll show you here. Cut. We've already sized it, right? If we needed it to be different sized. And then just cut, and then grab that little line right there and drop the sound down. And now there's no sound. You can't hear it.
Beliefs. If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's
Okay, so we cut out the sound of that breath. That's handy, I guess, but that can be problematic. For now, though, just kind of as we go along, what I'm going to show you here, let's go here. Notice it's going to get
you
big.
used to believe, or worse,
Now back to
at some
small.
of the things you did because of those beliefs. If you were ever religious,
Now,
especially deep,
instead of staying small this time, what I want it to do, we've got three different things. We're going to go big, small, and then zoom in. Okay, those are the things that we do. Big is the middle. So it starts small, goes
do you ever
big,
look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse,
and now it's
at
going to
some of the
go.
things you did?
We're gonna turn this one into the zoom. It is stupid easy. I didn't realize until my last video how easy. I did it the hard way before. You and I, friends, are gonna learn this the stupid easy way. Now it's gonna go back. Whenever this one comes here, it's gonna cross this line and it's gonna go back to 0, the small size.
Because of those beliefs. If you were ever religious,
And now I want it to zoom in on me as we go through here. So I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna come over here. Again, we're gonna record this and drop this next week. We're gonna do it again next week. But right here, for those of you like Durante, it's just click this right and go down to the dynamic zoom. Boom. In truth, you're almost always set. As long as you've had yourself in the center when you filmed it and you're good and you didn't have to do any adjustments, really all you have to do at this point, you turn that on, come over here and go to dynamic zoom, turn it on, and then swap. Super easy. Watch what happens now. Now I'm going to turn off this box again so it gets rid of those little boxes on the screen, but it's going to work the way I want it to. It's going to zoom in once, then it's going to drop back to all the way back to 0, and then slowly zoom in on me.
your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs. If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just the
Oh, did you see how stupid easy that was? All I did was make my cut. Really, now that we've got it done, I didn't have to do anything. Let me get rid of this. We'll get rid of our inspector. We don't need our inspector anymore. I mean, that was stupid easy. We only made one adjustment in size, and that was to make this a little bit bigger in the appropriate area so it looked good when we zoomed in. That's it. Now, all we'll do throughout the rest of this edit, we're going to right-click this guy here because it's got our only modified size. It's zoomed in. We're going to right-click it and copy it. Okay. Now, this one here is all out. This one's zoomed in. What I used to do is I've tried to figure out how to, on these zoom ins, I'd click this thing here and I'd move these boxes around trying to make shit zoom in the way I want it. And then one day I figured out, dude, if you just click that and leave it default and do the thing, it'll zoom perfectly. So, I mean, this is just yesterday or last time I edited my video, I figured that out. So my life got even easier.
If you were ever
So now let's go on and edit for a
especially
bit.
deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just
All the
the
way
regret
out.
of having been religious.
That's a good point right there. We're gonna my rhetoric is getting to kind of like a swell. So that's a good point for a cut. All right, so we'll cut. We're gonna cut. Okay. Delete. Now this guy here is the one where we're kind of coming up to a point. So this is our slow fade in. This is our all the way back. This guy here, we're gonna make a jump cut in, but we don't want to do it yet until we know. So let's watch.
Probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just the regret of having been religious. It's the regret of staying in it too long, of defending things we should have questioned, and of wasting time, energy, and even relationships on something that, in the end, just wasn't real.
Okay, now we've got this. Stop there for funds. Click that. This is normally when the really long one like that is the one that I would make the one where I zoom in on it. but in our case now, I've already copied our size. I right clicked, I copied this. Now I'm going to right click this one. I'm not going to paste. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paste attributes. Now here I'm going to say video attributes. So it's just going to copy the size and dimensions and location of the video. Boop. Now it's done. Now if you watch,
Just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs.
zoom in.
If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just the regret of having been religious, it's the regret of staying in it too long, of defending things we should have questioned, and of wasting time, energy, and even relationships on something that, in the end, just wasn't real.
Okay. So I mean, I think that works pretty good. In my case, though, because we're doing this, I'm gonna kind of stop. Let's go here. I like this. This is cool. This is zoomed in. This is cool. This zooms in. I think I wanna copy this. Watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna copy this. This is our zoomed in. I'm gonna paste this one. You know what? I don't even have to do that. Let me just open our inspector and just turn off the dynamic zoom. Now let's see what happens.
You used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs. If you
Now
were
back
ever
to zero.
religious, especially
All I had to do, I didn't have to go resize anything. I normally, in my old ways, I used to have to go resize all this crap or copy this original one and paste its size to here. But knowing now that I know, all I got to do is turn that shit off and it'll set it back to the default. As long as you filmed yourself in the center. Now, sometimes I haven't filmed myself in the center. We'll pretend this is the full video here. Let me go here. I've just sat down and it's not in the center. So what I'll do is I'll use these controls. I'll put myself in the center. I'll lock that down as my starting point. But anyway, that's a little more complicated. So now, but what I want to do is I want to change this. Now we've got these here, back, forward, back, forward. This one here, and I want to be forward. So let me copy this one. I'll make sure I got it still copied. I think I may have accidentally copied that. Now I'm going to paste it here. Again, paste the attributes. It's already going to keep that chosen for me. Now on this one, this is the one because I usually like to do the slow, long, the longer ones of these clips are the ones I usually like to reserve for the zoom in. Again, all I have to do, highlight it, click dynamic zoom, and then click swap. Otherwise it'll swap back. So watch.
the regret of having been religious. It's the regret of staying in it too long, of defending things we should have questioned, and of wasting time, energy, and even relationships on something that, in the end, just wasn't real. When you're inside religion,
Now,
it feels
in that
like
case, it sure feels like it pulled in close, right? And then went way back. So you can edit it. If I cut it here to cut out that breath, watch what happens. That will affect both of them. Now they both have the pull in command. It's going to be weird. Let me take the pull in command off of this one here. Okay. And now watch what happens. Because we cut that was pulled in, it'll go faster.
You
It'll look better.
probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just the regret of having been religious. It's the regret of staying in it too long, of defending things we should have questioned, and of wasting time, energy, and even relationships on something that, in the end, just wasn't real.
So there's little tricks that we can do. Now, one of the things I think is screwing me up on this one is, let me copy these. I'm going to copy this attribute, copy. And I think my deal is I screwed up on this attribute. Yeah, I screwed up on it, and it doesn't start where it should. Let me paste those attributes. I screwed up, and it was starting on the size, the blown up size, and going from blown up already to way zoomed in. And you could see that by seeing how close it got. Let's see what happens now.
Been religious. It's the regret
See how it popped back this
too
time?
long, of defending things we should have
And
questioned,
now it looks
and of
really
wasting
good.
time,
Nice
energy,
and
and even
smooth.
relationships on something that, in the end,
So this is really those are the three basic moves throughout this entire cutting and editing process. It's the far out, the zoomed in a little bit, and then the slow zoom in.
atheists. Do you ever look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did.
Now, I don't normally try to do a breath like that right after. I'm aware now that don't do that, because that's bad.
At some of the things you did because of those beliefs. If you were
Let's
ever
zoom back
religious,
out.
especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
Zoom
It's
in.
not just the regret of having been religious, it's the regret of staying in it too long, of defending things we should have
Now we've
questioned,
got to zoom
and of
in.
wasting time, energy, and
But wait a second. What if we want to cut this breath out of the zoom in? If I cut this, what's going to happen is it's going to change the zoom in and start from here and zoom in from here to here, right? And then it's going to zoom in from here to here. I'll show you. Let's just cut the breath out by just cutting it out. It's going to live on the same commands they already had. And you'll see it's going to do a double zoom
what I'm
in.
talking about. It's not just the regret of having been religious. It's the regret
Zoom
of
in.
staying in it too long, of defending things we should have questioned,
Zoom
and
in.
of wasting time, energy, and even relationships
And that isn't
on
the
something
that isn't the effect I want. What I want it to do is I want it to keep these two together, but I want to cut that breath out of there. What I can do is I can Control Z. Now I may not cut the timeout or the video timeout, but what we can do is zoom in. I like to right click and choose link clips. That has now unlinked them because they were already linked. Click off. Click now only on the sound. Hit the S key to cut. Hit the S key again because you're still highlighted here to cut. Now I can grab that and drop the sound out. There's a little line there you may or may not be able to see. Drop the sound out. Or if you can't see the line, you can highlight it and come up here to audio, up here in the inspector, and turn the audio down. Either way, and now we've kept our slow zoom in. We've removed the breath.
religious.
And we
It's
didn't
the
tear up our
regret
video.
of staying in it too long, of defending things we should have questioned, and of wasting time, energy, and even relationships on something that, in the end, just wasn't real. When you're inside religion,
So I think all this is kind of, let me pull up and see if I can find my completed video here of this. And you'll see how I've done exactly this throughout the completed one. Same thing with Durante. I did both of his, and he has gotten like, oh my goodness, I don't know, 70,000 views or some business off of just those two videos. So here we go. This is the completed work.
atheists, do you ever look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe? Or worse, at some of the things you did
screwed that up,
because of those
apparently.
beliefs. If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know
Actually,
exactly
I didn't know that was that way. I didn't know I had that kind of screw up.
Atheists, do you ever look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe? Or worse, at some of the things
Oh,
you
I didn't
did
realize that was there.
because of those beliefs.
My
If
bad.
you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just the regret of having been religious. It's the regret of staying in it too long, of
And
defending.
in my case, in this particular video, I kind of feel like I did a little too much. There was too much, too soon. Wasn't given it enough time on some of them. As he goes through the video, it gets better. Now, here, this is
things we should
exactly
have questioned and
all
wasting
we
time.
want to do. We want to do the minor cuts like this. Later on, let me come back over here. I'll show you. We'll get to this right here where we get to number 10 or whatever. Let me find a 10.
And you're really invested.
Haha, teleprompter.
When you're inside religion, it feels convincing yourself to lift. When those things you were so sure about start crumbling, that's when the regret creeps in. Not about leaving on it, and the video isn't about regretting. Take back. If you're still religious and feeling that little
You'll
tug
see
of
why
the-
I'm getting this.
Now, before I get to this list, I want to mention that atheists praying. Number 10, the wasted years of
Okay, so now I've got a place. Let me come in here. I want to do, you'll see why I'm doing this. It's because I've got to go get my sound here in just a second.
Number 10, the wasted years.
Okay, so I'm going to go back and find the end.
So let's dive in. Here's my list of the top 10 regrets atheists tend to have about leaving religion. Number 10.
Okay, so I'm going to cut that. Cut. Now I noticed that I messed up, so I'm going to screw over here.
Number 10.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to go here. I'm going to give myself just a little tiny bit of room here on this, and you'll see why in just a second. I'm going to click there, click. I'm going to delete this. Now we've got our first cut, our first official, and we're fixing to put a number, but we got to get our thing over here. So let me zoom out. Now with these guys over here, it's a little bit of a pain, and you'll figure out how this works. But these four over here, remember we linked them. The sounds. So I can grab it, and I can move our sound all the way over here. Leaving, that's our Daily Atheist Morning Show promo, right? This is just our swoosh in and swoosh out sounds, and since I linked them together, I can just grab them and move them together until I'm ready to not move them together. Okay, so now I zoom in. These little things here, I learned how to make these. I'll prepare next week to show you guys how to do these. In case you don't, the sounds are actually built into DaVinci Resolve. They're in the sound effects library. The sound line, but it's starting to get a little complicated for that shit, if you know what I mean. Ideally, what I'd really like is I'd like to be able to save this as a thing all by itself and then give it to y'all or whoever. So anyway, that way you don't have to go through it. So now what I want to do is I want to take our swoosh and I want to put it over here. That way it covers a little bit visually. Come on, swoosh. Grab me. Covers a little bit visually. Okay. And that's how I did. Now, little trick to think about. I hope y'all can see this. If I grab this box, it wants to snap. This line is going to snap. Here's our unsnap. If you don't want to snap, it's up here. But it's going to snap, boop, to that. And that's not what I want to do. This swoosh comes in, then there's letters, and the swoosh actually covers the cut. Okay, so I know as you go on, you'll get this. Click on the top one. On the top one. Now it's going to snap to that right here, and this is why. Now watch what happens.
To have about leaving religion. Number 10, the wasted years of praying instead of doing. How many years did we spend?
Okay, so by doing this that way, by grabbing it by putting this cut here where the text, the swoosh comes first, covers the cut, then the text comes in, boop.
Here's my list of the top 10 regrets atheists tend to have about leaving religion. Number 10, the wasted years of...
And the reason why I said leave a little bit of area here is because, like right here, let me give a little bit more, because you can just grab that a little bit more, is because you don't want your swoosh sound to roll over the last part of your words. Now, I'm in a pickle. I want to move all of these things here back. All right, so I grab it and boop. Now grab it, boop, boop. And now we have not our sound. Here's my last words. Do not get obfuscated by the swoosh.
About leaving religion. Number 10, the wasted years of praying instead of doing.
Now, sometimes the second swoosh, you can't really avoid it because you'll be in the middle of your sentence. But I like to get rid of the sound, the breaths out of here at any time. So like we talked about earlier, at the very beginning, I want to cut this little piece out of this. How do you do that? If you clicked out here and nothing is highlighted and you hit the cut button, it's going to cut everything. And now you're in a pickle. Okay, so Control Z undoes that. Durante's going, damn. So what I want to do, though, is I want to highlight this. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight it and then hit S to cut. We're going to highlight the end of our dead space that we want to get rid of. Right. It's snapping, and I don't want it to snap. So I'm going to click that, the little magnet up here, and I'm going to move it. Now I can move it more freely. Okay. I got to highlight this side again because you got to watch where that orange bar is, and now I hit the cut again. Boom. If you hit delete, it's going to fuck up your sound. Watch what happens to my sound. My swoosh is in the right place. This swoosh sound is supposed to happen right at the edge of this visual. So it happens on both of them. Right at usually the edge, just as a little script, but you know what I mean, right at the edge of the visual. And if I hit delete, boop, now it's all screwed up.
About leaving religion. Number 10, the wasted years of praying instead of doing.
So Control Z undoes that. And now, again, click it, and then hit the backspace. Now I can grab this whole bar here and just move it gently to the left. Now I turned off my snap. I want to turn my snap back on. And then move it right back. Boop. Now, this all looks like a lot of work, and it kind of can be, but that's why we lock all this stuff together and these things, and you work from a template you've already created. One time you're going to sit down to a blank screen, and you're going to drop a video in, and you're going to need to create these little guys. But after that, you don't really have to do that if you just work smarter, Now they're linked together. Now here's a problem we're going to run into. Now I need to edit this text in this box. But because they're linked together, I just can't really do it. It just won't let me. It's just weird. I'm going to click it. Watch. Is he going to let me? Please let me. It'd be so nice. I learned a new thing. Is it going to work? Oh, shit. It's going to work. Because there's times it does not work. Boop, boop, boop. Awesome. Any other time. So apparently when they're linked, it does work. But normally after, that's good to know. Now I can just leave them linked. Here's the deal. Before I wouldn't leave them linked. I would unlink them because sometimes you have to move them. Watch this though. I'm going to grab it or click it. Now you've noticed it's highlighted them all because now we need to do one for number 9, but we've just changed this one. Number 9 is over here. So what you do, once you have it highlighted, the ones you want, if you hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and then grab it and move it, it will duplicate everything. Now, number 9. Now, look over here, though. Notice how this time here, just because of some weird shit, it did not change that to number 9. You saw me type it. It did not change it to number 9. It's something you just got to watch. Now I've put it back here. Will it do it this time for reals? Now it will. So as you go through here and you do this, just be careful that sometimes I've numbered them out and I've gone back, oh man, it didn't take. And you have to, really what it is when they're locked together, it doesn't. So you have to sometimes right click, unlink clips, then clip it all by itself. Now you can type. That's what I thought I was going to have to do. But, I really like having my links my shit clipped so I can not have to go through that again. So now let's go on to 8. Uh-oh. These are unclipped. So if I grab it, it's just going to bring that 1. I can grab each one of them by clicking it. I'm going to zoom in to make it easier on myself. Clicking it, hitting the control key, clicking the next one, holding that control key down and just grabbing those 2 on the bottom. Now they're all highlighted. They're not linked. They're just highlighted. So now this is perfect. This is the way I normally deal with, because as you saw, you have to unlink them and to name them. So normally I don't generally link them. Okay, so now that I've got it, hold that Alt key down again, grab it, drag it. Now we've got number 8 over here. Click it above it. Let's see if it's going to, I click off to the side, then click the words again. And now you're good as gold. Boop, boop, done. So the next time you do it, you can highlight them, or I'm sorry, you don't have to do it. You can highlight them like this with just the mouse. Then you've got to grab your sound, hit the control key, hold the control key down, grab your sound. Now you can move them all, but you want to duplicate it. So in order to do that, hold that Alt key down. Now you've got number 6. Let off the Alt key, hold it down again. Number 5, let off. Number 4, just keep doing that till you've got them all down, and then you can go edit them. And then as you make your cuts, put them in place.
Something would magically happen.
You'll, on another page, you'll have your, number 9 will be this, right? Number 8 is going to be this. Number 7 is going to be this. So number 9, boom. So now we know number 9. I come in here, I don't know what number 9 is. I put number 9. I come here, I type in number 8. I come here, I type in number 7. Now we're going to watch the video and just put them in place as they go.
From illness,
grab it,
or help with our relationships, believing that if we just pray hard enough, something would magically happen. But here's the thing: praying for a and praying for a better relationship, there were at that time spent wasted in prayer.
Okay.
Number 9.
So now, as mentioned, I could tell I was asking the question, remember? So I'm going to grab the rest of these. They're a little close up. That's number 10. I want to grab all these. I want to come down here, hit the control key, grab all the sounds. Now they're all kind of temporarily linked, so now I can grab them and move them all out the way because they're all too close. Come back here, grab these two here. Now here, right here, let's watch this video first and see. We're going to put our number in. Let's zoom in, and you'll see why in just a second.
Wasted in prayer. Number 9.
Okay. So I've got like a lip smack and a breath I want to get rid of. Right there. So I'm going to cut. Come back here to this guy here. And remember to give yourself just a little room afterwards.
Wasted in prayer.
There we go. That'll give us a little room for our swoosh. I'm going to cut, delete. Now our cut's made. So we just back out using these little arrows up here. Position to zoom in and zoom out is right here. So you can zoom in on your track. Zoom in by zooming in, zooming out by zooming out. Sorry if y'all didn't see that earlier. Now I need to grab these guys and move them back over here. So I'm going to highlight them. Just by highlighting those two, hit the control key, highlight those two. Remember, I want to grab this top one because I want it to line up to snap to that cut. I tell you, people, there were so many of these things I had to figure out on my own. So now I'm going to grab it. I've already duplicated. I don't need. I've even numbered it. I've even put the words. I'm just going to grab it, put it in place. Watch till it snaps. Boom, it snapped. Zoom in to make sure it snapped at the right place. It did because this one will snap. But now we're done. That's it. We numbered them. We did the quick cut.
Brings change. How much time have you wasted in prayer? Number 9. Feeling guilty for just being human. Religion has a funny way of making you feel guilty.
I mean, you don't have to cut these out. Sometimes I won't, unless I can hear the breath. But if I can hear the breath, cut. Oh, shit. Look what I did. Dang it. I cut my stuff. And I did that because I didn't have anything highlighted. So in order to undo my cut, I want to hit Control Z. Actually, I do have this highlighted. I don't want that highlighted. I'm going to Control Z, undid the cut. Now I'm going to click anywhere out of the space. Now I'm going to click my track, do my cut. My cut's not in the right place. I can actually see from the video. It's not quite there. So I zoomed in by hitting this. And now I'm going to go here. Boop. Now, if I click again, it highlighted this one. If I click again, it's not on the highlight and it's going to cut everything. Boop. Damn, that's not what I wanted to do. Control Z. Right? You got to remember to highlight the one you want to cut. Otherwise, it's going to cut everything. So now, cut again. Again, we have a choice. We can hit delete or we can hit backspace. If we hit delete, it's going to move this and this. It's just going to essentially cut out this right here, all of it. Let's see. Delete. And you see now our sounds and everything aren't in the same place. It moved the sound, but left. Okay, so you hit instead of the delete, you're going to do the backspace. It didn't move any of our audio. Now I can grab this guy here, move it up, and we'll listen to how it sounds.
Prayer. Number 9, feeling guilty for just being human. Religion has a funny way of making...
I still heard a breath there, but I want to cut it out for fun since we got time. I'm going to go here, right over there. I'm going to hit my S key. I remember it's highlighted, so it didn't cut all my other stuff. It better not have cut my other stuff. I'll be pissed. It did not. Now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to highlight. I'm going to hit my S key. Now I'm going to highlight this piece here, backspace. Grab it. Now we've gotten rid of all the extraneous breaths. The second one, it's really hard to time cutting that little, but it's an even smaller whoosh sound, so it shouldn't be too big. Here,
wasted in prayer. Number 9, feeling guilty for just being human. Religion has a funny way of making you feel guilty for just being you. If you had a sexual thought, you were sinning.
So at this point, that's kind of what we've covered here is literally everything that applies to the rest of the video, all the way down. We'll do this. I start with this, and I'll do this until I get to a number. I'll cut the number. I'll come grab my number, move it in place, rename it, and then I'll start here. So we'll pretend I cut that. I'm done with this right here. Boop. We'll zoom in.
Number 10, the wasted years of praying instead of doing. How many about leaving religion. Number 10, the wasted years of praying instead of doing. How many years did we spend praying for things to change instead of actually getting up and doing something?
Right there. I can see it's coming, so I'm going to click here, S key, come here, S key again. Here. Now this time it's okay to hit the delete because I don't mind if everything slides forward. Delete. Matter of fact, it saves me a step by hitting delete. If I hit backspace, now I got to go grab them. Come on now. I got to grab it and move it that way until it snaps. And sometimes I screwed up, and it's just, in some cases, delete is truly easier. So delete, and it did all that for me. Now we're going to go on to the next breath or appropriate cut area.
We thought prayer was the solution, right? We'd ask God for better jobs, healing from illness, or help with our relationships, believing that if we just prayed hard enough, something would magically happen.
That was kind of a good little rant. I think I'm going to do the zoom in on that one. So let's cut. And now there are a couple of breaths in there. Let's see here. I'm going to cut. I want to see how it looks first. So let's see. Now it's going to come off from the far away and go into this. So it'll look like far away. And then whenever it starts this, it'll just suddenly, slowly start moving in after a long. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. And then I'll cut this part out back here real quick. Again, snap is not going to kill me this time. Highlight, S, then delete, because it can be gone. Again, later on, I'll show you the quick keys where you don't have to do the thing. You can just hit ripple delete. But for now, so now I figure because that was a good little rant. Did I do that? I really did that, didn't I? Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So now all I got to do is highlight that guy, come over here in dynamic zoom. Now let's not hit the swap, and let's see what happens.
Praying instead of doing. How many years did we spend praying for things to change instead of actually getting up and doing something? We thought prayer was the solution, right? We'd ask God for better jobs, healing from illness, or help with our relationships, believing that if we just prayed hard enough, something would magically happen. But here's the thing.
Now, in my case,
you actually go out and apply. It's not that
I prefer the zoom in because I feel like I'm being dramatic. And I want it to zoom in as I'm being, getting closer in on me. Let me come over here. I screwed up. So I had to come and find my place. So now, bad Chris. It was number one. So now the zoom in.
Change instead of actually getting up and doing something.
All I have to do is click this swap button. Now it's going to go from zoomed all the way out. You'll notice maybe a little glitch as it zooms forward. We'll see.
About leaving religion. Number 10,
it might look
the wasted years of praying instead of doing. How many years did we spend praying for things to change instead of actually getting up and doing something? We thought prayer was the solution.
So now you'll see here it went from a static, far away shot. And then right at this line, it's going to start the slow zoom. And really, I can only get away with that in this case because the cut is so smooth that you don't really notice that there's a cut there.
Instead of actually getting up and doing something, we thought prayer was the
kind of does
solution, right?
I could do this. I could come in here. I could cut it here, delete this little bit here. Okay, now turn this cut off, the swap in this dynamic zoom, and now I'm going to go all the way back because I don't know if I'm still copied in the right place or not. Sorry, guys. It might be a little disconcerting. You'll see what I'm going to do. So come all the way back to here, copy that, go back to 1, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy here, paste attributes, like our semi-zoomed in, right? So now it's going to go
leaving religion. Number 10,
this guy's going to be zoomed out
instead of doing. How many years did we spend praying for things to change instead of actually getting up and doing something? We thought
okay, so that looked better than having that awkward cut from, where it looked the same where I said I couldn't get away with it, but then I was like, I can't really. So now it kind of zooms in on us instead of an awkward cut, then a slow zoom. So what'll happen is it's going to go all the way out, zoom in, and then back out for the slow zoom in. It looks complicated, but it was actually
praying
pretty
instead
easy.
of doing. How many years did we spend praying for things to change instead of actually getting up and doing something? We thought prayer was the solution, right? We'd ask God for better jobs, healing from illness, or help with our relationships, believing that if we just prayed hard enough, something would magically happen. But
As mentioned, I got a breath in there I don't like. But if I cut it right here to cut that breath out, rut-row, it's going to screw up our slow creep in. So right click, link clips. These two that were highlighted are now unlinked. So if I click off, I can click back on the sound, zoom in. I can cut just the sound, the highlighted orange part, hit a cut. Now at this point, you don't want to, you could do a backspace. You could highlight it and then backspace. Obviously, you don't want to do a delete, right? Because it's going to screw you up. You could do a backspace if you wanted to do that, or you could just grab the sound and pull it down. So now we've still got our slow creep in. I got rid of the breath.
doing something. We thought prayer was the solution, right? We'd ask God for better jobs, healing from illness, or help with our relationships, believing that if we just
That still felt like an awkward thing, and I'd change it up if we were doing something different, but it works for our features.
we'd ask God
what
for
we're doing.
better jobs, healing from illness, or help with our relationships, believing that if we just prayed hard enough, something would magically happen. But here's the thing. Praying for a job
Now,
doesn't mean you
all
actually
right.
go out and
As mentioned earlier, I only have one actual true size change. I went and copied it a second ago to make sure I still had it because I wasn't sure if I had it. So now I've got that one true size change. So now we're just going to go together. And since we know what we're doing now, sort of, I'm just going to hit them.
happen. But
Zoom
here's
in.
the thing. Praying for a job doesn't mean you actually go out and apply for one.
Okay, so that's good. We'll go cut. And I'm going to do this quick. Cut. Come on, you. Cut. I'm going to do my ripple. Cut. All right, so
Job doesn't mean you actually go out and apply for one. Praying for a miracle to heal you doesn't take away the fact that you still need medical attention.
okay. Clearly, that's another cut. Cut. Highlight, delete. Now, right click, paste attributes. And now we're just rocking right along. You can watch it back, and it's from the slow zoom in
Happen.
all the way
here's
back
the
out.
thing. Praying for a job doesn't mean you actually go out and apply for one. Praying for a
Zoom
miracle
in.
to heal you doesn't take away the fact that you still need medical attention. And
Zoom
praying
out.
for a better relationship won't fix the communication issues you're having.
Okay, so now most of the time you're just going to do the two, the zoom in and zoom out. So, boop, boop. What's this one?
And praying for a better relationship won't fix the communication issues you're not addressing.
Okay, so boop. Cut out the space. Boop. Now, here.
You still need medical attention.
Zoom
and
out.
praying for
So
a better
right-click.
relationship won't fix the
Paste
communication issue.
attributes.
Praying for a better relationship won't fix the communication issues you're having. And praying for a better relationship won't fix the communication issues you're not addressing. We spent
Did I duplicate?
attention. And praying for a better relationship won't
Those
fix
are the
the
same.
communication issues you're having. And praying for a better relationship won't fix
So it looks like I did two takes right there, and I got it right the second time. So I'm going to highlight that one and just click delete. Now our thing is wrong because we're going to have two zoomed ins.
away the fact that you still need medical attention. And praying for a better relationship.
But that's easy to fix. This is our default. So I'm going to click it, right click it, copy, paste attributes. Boom. Now it's back to small. And we come back here. Now I want to copy this one. This is our default size change. Remember, or zoom in a little bit. I'm going to copy him so I can have that always in my back pocket. Okay, so now zoom
away
in.
the fact that you still
Down.
need medical attention. And
Back
praying
out.
for a better relationship won't fix the communication issues you're not addressing. We spent so much time on our knees hoping that divine intervention would solve everything. Meanwhile, there were actually things we could have done ourselves. And the worst,
This sounds like that could have been a really good long zoom in. So let's go here. I'm going to cut it there. I'm going to cut out our sound. Let me link the clips. Oh, shoot. Unlink the clips. There we go. Damn it, man. Okay, so click. Move a little ways. Clip. I'll go ahead and I'll just backspace that out of there. And now I'll highlight this guy here. And all I got to do is click this and this And that's it. That was it.
Doesn't take away the fact that you still need medical attention. And praying for a better relationship won't fix the communication issues you're not addressing. We spent so much time on our knees hoping that divine intervention would solve everything. Meanwhile, there were actually
The
things
question,
we could have done ourselves.
Vic has a question about, can you, yes, the answer is yes. DaVinci Resolve is extremely handy, powerful. You just import, you come over here. This is our little import tab down here. Come here. This is where your it's called your media. Lets you access your media. You come over here and you find your stuff that you want. In my case, we're going to go YouTube and whatever media you want to add. Let's go audio. Let's say we wanted to add a song or something. Come in here and grab something. There's a music for Dulcinea. It supports quite a few different. And then you can hover over it like this. Okay. Now let's go back here in this thing here. I'll show you Durante. I saw the thing we had a Durante. I've got a Durante folder, and there's nothing in it. I know where my Durante stuff is. It's up here. Let's go YouTube. I don't really care for how it stacks this stuff up. Video, and then we've got our top 10s somewhere in here. Show media. Show media. And then our top 10s. I got a lot of stuff in here, guys. Sorry. Let's find Durante. Durante, lies I told. All right, so let's say we're going to take Durante. Here's something I'll show you. Let's say we don't want the whole thing. What we could do is you can click it. Now it's in this little preview window. And start at the beginning. Hit play. And I'm going to take just a clip.
Christians, we need to have a conversation.
I'm going to hit I.
Your pastor
We've
has
marked
been
an
lying to
end
you
point.
for years, and he probably doesn't even realize.
Now I'm going to hit out. Oh, I've
I used to
marked an
stand on a
out
platform.
point. So you can't really see it, but there's an in and an out point because this is a long video. So now I'm just going to grab and I'm going to drag that down there. I don't need to rename it. Boom. And now I've taken that little clip of just him. Anyway, you're not going to do that. You'll do that once you figure out what's going on and you start getting into it. Most of the time, though, you'll just grab your content once you find it here, drop it down into here. And now, whenever you come over here to the editing tab, you'll find it up here in your media pool. There's Durante. Okay. So once you drop it in your media pool, if it's a video you recorded, I know it's a little rough, but it's hard software to, I mean, it's complicated. This is the same software they use in the film industry for coloring and graphics, for all manner of stuff. This is some badass software, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. That's why I wanted to get people in on just like the super basics. It seems like I'm doing complicated shit, but it's really super basic. But in our case now, we've got back to our three basic things: our zoom in, our zoom out,
I'm praying for a
our
praying for a
zoomed in, zoomed out, and then our slow pan in zoom. So
job doesn't mean you actually go out and apply for one. Praying for a miracle to heal you
out.
doesn't take away the fact that you still need medical attention. And praying for a better relationship won't fix
Now we're
the
gonna get a slow
communication
zoom in.
issues you're not addressing. We spent so much
Now
time
you'll notice that, oh
leaving
shit,
religious-
I clicked up here. Bad
leaving
Chris.
our special offerings we were told had the truth and really in rule you were sinning. If you got
Okay.
angry, human. Religion has a funny way of making you
There it
feel
is.
guilty. There were actually things we could have done ourselves. And the worst part, all that time spent praying.
So there's
believing
all
that
our
if you
little
just
cuts.
prayed
In,
hard enough,
out, and then
it's the
our slow
communication
zoom.
issues you're not addressing. We
Don't click
spent
that.
so much time on our knees hoping that divine intervention
Slow
would
zoom.
solve everything. Meanwhile, there were actually things we could have done ourselves. And the worst part, all that time spent praying.
Okay, now to continue cutting. Come here. I got a nice little breath. Sometimes both me and Durante, I've noticed, we'll sit here between things and we'll like, what do you think? And we'll give these little expressions or something after like a point being made. But then we get in here and cut them. We cut them all out and you don't even notice it. It's weird. As you get to editing your own stuff, Durante, you'll see what I mean. You're like, isn't that crazy? And then in the editing process, you'd be like, I don't want my head shaking around. You'll see what I mean. So now I want to get rid of this right here. And we're just going to go to the end. I'm going to get rid of that. I've still got it copied up in the thing.
It wasn't spent actively improving our situation.
Pause. There's a breath. I can see it. Breath. Cut. Boop. Delete. Now right click, paste. Attributes. Apply. Now our attributes are already there. Boop.
Praying It wasn't spent
Okay.
actively improving our situation. Sure, prayer might feel comforting in the moment.
Okay. Cut. Cut. Now it's going to get me because I'm a little further out. I might do myself a favor by zooming in, but it looks like a good cut. Cut. We can do a delete here. Now this is zoomed in. This is zoomed out. This is just normal. So
Improving our situation. Sure, prayer
Or
might
zoomed
feel
out, yep.
comforting in the moment, but action is what truly brings change. How much time have you wasted in prayer?
okay, so we can do that. Let's go here. I like that time there. Let's just do this. Paste attributes. Boom.
Our situation. Sure, prayer might feel comforting in the moment, but action is what truly brings change. How much time have you wasted in prayer?
Okay. The only thing I think I'd change with that is I'd get rid of that little breath there. Because this isn't a pan zoom, it doesn't really matter. I can cut, grab the little line, and bring it down.
In the moment, but action is what truly brings change. How much time have you wasted in prayer? Number 9.
And now, so at this point, these are kind of the basics. We've gotten through this first part of cutting it, the ins and outs. That's all we've done. We kind of skipped an area there, but that's it. You cut out the breaths. You go from zoomed in to zoomed out to zoomed in to zoomed out. If you find yourself going on a particularly good rant, not generally too long though, because you'll see it'll zoom way too far in, but a decently longer rant than a normal one, go ahead and just click that over on the right, click the swap button. You know what I mean? You saw how we did that. Then you're done. It's just all the way through it. The rest of that, just cut out the breath, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, add your numbers that we've already copied over. Again, next week, we're going to do this all again. Durante, you're probably doing pretty good. If you want, I'm prepared emotionally to edit your video together for you this week. And if we can get a script up for Ryan, I would do hers for her. And then we can, this is not going to be something that's going to be overnight. It does take a little bit of time. Now, other things I want to show you real quick while we're here. At the end,
should have, without guilt and without shame. Just real, raw, and free.
Okay.
Don't let regret hold you back. The best time to leave religion was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Christians, Jesus.
Okay, so now Vic says we could learn and practice together each week. We very much could. Those who are interested. All right, so now, here's the end. Now, this is the deal. In the end, I tell you, don't let them know the end is coming.
Too late to step.
Notice I'm going to keep going message. I'm not going to go, hey, if you like what I do, leave a comment and subscribe. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go right from, because as we can look at our metrics and they'll bounce. So we're going to challenge to their face.
Way to live authentically. And if you're already out, well, you're not alone. We've all been there. And the best part, we're here now. And we can finally start living the way we always should have, without guilt and without shame. Just real, raw, and free. Don't let regret hold you back.
Hurry up, old man.
The best time to leave religion was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Christians,
right
Jesus
to the face.
did not die for your sins. Click
Jesus.
here.
Okay, so now we're going to go right to their face, and I'm going to promote another video. So I'm going to cut it right here, about where I'm going to point. Okay, let's cut there. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to just pop it up a line. Okay, I've made a gap there. I'm going to come over here to the Effects tab. I'm going to come down to Generators. And then I'm going to grab this color because I really like this 4-color gradient right here. I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to drag it out. I'm going to drop it right there. And now that is behind my image. Okay, I want to make it the whole length. Just click it, click it and then grab the end. Because it's like a picture, right? Now I can take this guy here. Come up here to our video settings, our transform. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to make him a little smaller. Okay. Now I'm going to move it up with this position right here. Move this side to side. Let's move it up and down, up and down, up and down, man. Okay. Now I'm kind of wasting some space here. You know, I feel like things could be better. So let's come here to the cropping right here. I'm going to click that. Now I'm going to crop out the left. I'm going to crop out the right. And I'm going to crop the bottom just a little bit. Notice we're coming into like a 16:9 kind of look. Now, even though I'm up there, I've zoomed in on me is what I'm doing. Now I can bring it up a little bit and it still looks good, right? It looks a little too big though, but here now I'm gonna make it a little smaller. And now I'm gonna move it up. Damn it, that's not up. It's never up, man. Okay, now when I hit play, click here to see my video on the top 10 reasons why Jesus was not sacrificed for you. Oh, and hey, have you ever seen an ex-pastor destroy the Bible? Click over here to meet my friend Durante Lamar and watch him dismantle the holy word like only an ex-pastor can. Sin safely, my friends. Take care. Okay, I'm going to hit boop, cut, done. I mean, that's pretty much done. I'm going to grab that right there. I'm going to delete it. Now, I want to show you here, if I can, in our video. This is the same video we just got finished watching, and let's watch what happens at the end of it. Okay, not leaving Sooners, number 1. We do our conclusion. Die for your sins. Click here. Always should have. Without guilt and without shame. Just real, raw, and free. Don't let regret hold you back. The best time to leave religion was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Christians, Jesus did not die for your sins. Click here to see my video on the top 10 reasons why Jesus was not sacrificed for you. Click over here to meet my friend Durante Lamar and watch him dismantle the holy word like only an ex-pastor can. Sin safely, my friends. Take care. Okay, so rather than just ending the video, as you saw, any one of these will do it. These guys here, I don't think they do anything. I love the pitch meeting.
We have an epidemic of stupidity in the world.
Tell Trump he's being
That's it.
to think.
Done. You know? But there's this bit, they're kind of a different method. And you can see
We
how
have an epidemic of stupidity in the world.
Yes, we do. You can see how that would be efficient by pointing other people, especially Durante. He gets a video that's got 30,000 views, and let me pull up Durante's last video over here. I'm stalking all of us here. Let's go to Durante, and look what Durante did in his video at the end of his most recent one here that he did himself. Now this is Durante. All I did was tell him about DaVinci Resolve, and he went. Thankfully, I told him about the plan to do this.
What do you?
I encouraged him to get with Jimmy Snow to get permission. He got with Jimmy Snow to get permission, and then he went himself and edited this together. Check this out, my friends. To save me, I mean, he saved me because I've been covered up. In order to help him avoid burning out, I've been burning myself out. So I appreciate it. See what he did here.
What's up, family? What do you think about the proposition that we should just label everything as God? The universe is God. The trees, it's God. Well, Forrest Valkai and I got this call last week while on the line on the Sunday After Dark show, and I wanted to share with you this clip of how it went. Let's check it out.
If you think I'm missing something, feel free to tell me.
Okay. See what he did there? I mean, he went to the line. He got this content from them. He has their permission to use it. He downloaded it. He dropped it into DaVinci Resolve. Like you saw, as we saw from our editing, he recorded a short intro. No need to do the breath cuts. And like, I smoked for 40 years, 38 years. When I go, you can hear me. I'm just saying, you don't have to go cut out all the breaths. I like cutting them out because they bug me. But he didn't need to. It looked great. But watch here. Not only did he take that, he's taken that advice. He's added himself to the beginning. Now he's run with this. No need to edit this at all. But watch what happens here at the end.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Now that I've shut the fuck up for a little while.
this would be the perfect time to go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe.
Okay, check
Also,
this
if
out.
you'd like to see this conversation in full and just more content like this, click this video here where you'll watch me and Forrest Valakai take a few more calls. Also, if you're interested in some more laid back conversation and just seeing how atheists hang out, click this video to catch me on the Daily Atheist Morning Show with Chris Mallard and Ryan Koltastic. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, keep rising.
Awesome sauce. So we see how there, once we get to the end of the video, this is not necessarily purely about editing as much as it is about strategy. You know, you're editing now. While you're editing, let's apply some strategy. One of the things I mentioned about the script writing yesterday was that here we can look. And when we get to these numbers, whenever you're working on these numbers for your top tens, let's watch what happens here. Is this one mine or is it, where is it? Okay, good. Let's go to the number 9, the end of number 10.
And the worst part, all that time spent praying, it wasn't spent actively improving our situation. Sure, prayer might feel comforting in the moment, but action is what truly brings change. How much time have you wasted in prayer?
Okay. Notice I didn't ask them to go down and leave a comment in below. I didn't do none of that. I just asked, hey, how much time have you wasted with prayer? At the end of every one of these, I'm going to do that in a subtle way.
We were taught that even thinking about things like sex or ambition was inherent, suppress our desires, our feelings, and our enjoyment of life. It wasn't just about following. Now, as atheists, we realize that our desires aren't evil. They're part of what makes us human. That guilt, it wasn't divine. It was about control. Religion uses guilt to keep people in line and to keep them coming back for forgiveness. Personally, I regret letting the church guilt me for being me for so long. How about you?
Okay. How about you? Notice I've ended at number 9. I've ended it with a question. Not a stupid obvious. Not a, okay, go ahead, let me know in the comments below. I mean, you don't do that every time. You're going to lose them so fast. It's just a quickie. This isn't really even a promotion. It's more of like, hey, what do you think? You know, I mean, boom, and we're done. We're gone. And I can even know that the next one is coming. Just because of that. Let's go here. We're going to go boop, boop. Going to cut her out right there. That's pretty nice. Boop. And now, number 7.
Number 8,
Or
defending
number 8.
the indefensible.
So can you imagine defending the indefensible? By the end of this one, I'm going to have a question. Did you ever remember defending something that was indefensible when you were a believer? It's an obvious, you know? So those are some of the techniques that we've got going on. I'm going to kind of wrap this up in just a second. We're getting close. There's a couple other things that I want to show you. These are things that you kind of need to know. Any of you watching Tsunami, Lobo Nix? Lobo, as in Lobos. Cool. Anybody watching, feel free to hit me up in the Discord about this because I'm going fast and there's things that you might need help with. We can meet back here, do something. Like I say, we're going to do this again next week. But all right, so at this point, we're here. We've edited our video together. We're ready to move forward. Let's pretend we're done with the editing part. Now what? Now, there's a couple of things. Before we export it, we're going to want to export it. But first, let's come up here to Timeline. And we're going to go create subtitles from audio. So now I leave these as default, and I'm going to hit create. If you were here at the beginning, you saw how we had a whole bunch of this stuff up on the screen. I deleted it all right from the very beginning. It's going to take a minute, and it's literally going through now and analyzing my video, and it's creating the subtitles. Sometimes it does really good. Sometimes it doesn't do so good. But now, if you wonder why it takes so long to record one of these, this is a 15-minute video, so I've got to edit it, finish watching the edit. You really watch it separately. Don't watch the edit, go for the edit review, or don't finish editing it, then create the subtitles, and then try to go back and watch the edits and the subtitles, because it's just kind of, you'll miss things. So this is a 15-minute video, but I'm going to watch it twice. Once just to make sure all my cuts are in the right place and my zooms and all that looks good. Sometimes there might be a little black spot where my video doesn't connect. The second time I want to watch it is to make sure that my Subtitles are correct. We're going to presume for this instant that our video has been edited correctly, and we're just going to work on the subtitles now. So now let me get this down to where we can do the subtitles. Boop.
Atheists. Do you ever look back at your past and just cringe at some of the things you used
Now
to
you notice it didn't for quickie. It didn't say and just. It skipped words. I don't like it that it skipped a word. Past and just cringe. Okay. So now I want to change that. So I click it in here. Let's zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. Click it. Now it's highlighted. And up here, caption. Past and just cringe at some of the things.
past and just cringe at some of the things you used to believe, or worse, at some of the things you did because of those beliefs. If you were ever religious,
Now, sometimes if you've got time, what I like to do is I like to come in here and see how it kind of stopped. I like to drag those together.
because of those beliefs. If you were ever religious, especially deeply religious, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just the regret of having been religious, it's the regret of staying in it too long, of defending things we should have questioned, and of wasting time, energy, and even relationships on something that, in the end, just wasn't real. When you're inside religion,
Okay.
it feels like everything
So
makes
this is
sense.
cool. You're all cool.
You have
We're going to go through now, and we're going to pretend that I've watched it all, and the captions match. Yeah, that's perfect. Now you're done. But wait, you're not done. Okay, here's part of the thing. Lobonix says this was really cool. I'm usually not available for your shows, but I had a cancellation and decided to pop in. Thank you very much for impromptu education. I guess we're doing good. Thank you, Lobo. So here's the deal, guys. This is where a lot of people end. You really could be done. Come down here. This is our export. Export it. You click export, and I'll show you. We'll do it. Let's go here. We're gonna title it. I give it a title. Blah 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 blah. Doesn't really matter. With DaVinci Resolve, check this out. There is a button right here. Boom. Automatically makes all these complicated settings, all that shit over here, perfect for YouTube. Preset for YouTube. I like to do this to normalize the audio on the video. It'll take care of that for me, and you're done. Here's a hint. Give your video a name relative to what you're going to do. Don't just call it video 1, video 10, okay? Give it a name. In this case, let's go top 10 reasons atheists regret leaving religion. And you're like, why? And the reason why is because YouTube and Google will search and use the name of the video as a search item, and it will help your video show up in YouTube and Google searches. And it'll also help it for it being, but if you just leave it as like the default name, vid10, vid_19, or whatever business, you don't get that benefit. Same thing with the thumbnails. You'll look here and you'll notice that I do the thumbnails. Whenever I create a thumbnail, I rename them for the same purpose. Right here. Atheist Christmas, Atheist Exposes Pastors Hate. Because the system, here's us for today, Atheist Morning Show, these are generic, right? Because we just do a morning show every day. But whenever I do a top 10s, because the search engine is going to catalog your thumbnails. These here, I renamed them after I got them over. I've made a lot of shit, guys. But you can see the Bible, Genesis. Sometimes I make 3 thumbnails, and I'm going to do a thumbnail comparison. So you'll see there's in here. Top 10 reasons atheists fight Christianity. Top 10 reasons, but they'll be the same. Regrets of an atheist, top 10 regrets of an atheist. And I'll create these 3, upload them all. Notice they all have the same name with just a subtle change, so I can make sure it gets into the Google search. And now I'll do a the system will do a YouTube comparison on these 3 thumbnails, pick the best one over time, and then choose it for me. Okay, so that's great. That's all great, grand, and groovy. This is cool. But now we're done, right? We've exported our video. But now what are you going to do? Let's go over here to YouTube. And this is something that so many people do. And this is stuff we will cover more of. But let's go to our YouTube studio. And I think I have, I don't know where my nephew is. We'll just come here and I'm going to create a new video. And what they often do is they'll go here. All right, so let's select a file, and we'll just pick show media, top 10s, top 10 reasons I fight. All right, so that's good. I don't care. It's going to take it a minute while it does it. But look, now we've got this. I'm going to go top 10 reasons people are good about this. Top 10, blah, 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 blah. But then you'll often see this. You'll see this. You'll see some links. You'll see some of this. You'll be like, it'll be up here, it'll be like, and so all you've got is you got a name, you've got a tiny, super tiny little description, and then all your regular links. Boop, all your regular links that you put in. And you're not going to get any views. Nobody's going to view it. They're not searching for this shit. They're not. So how do you get a decent SEO packed description for your video? If you don't know what SEO is, SEO stands for search engine optimization. Well, let me come back here and show you how you get that. Let's take this back in our description here. Our DaVinci Resolve. Let's come up here to File now that we're done and we've got our stuff. We can't do it while you're on this tab. You got to go back to this tab here for some reason. I don't know why. But you not that tab, this tab. Come back to File and then export subtitles. Now, this is a little note. Always come down here and choose subtitles without formatting, okay? And you're going to name your subtitles. What are you going to name your subtitles? Because it will go in the search. Top 10, blah, 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 whatever, right? You're going to rename it. I have a search area in there. Save. I'm going to save. Now, you've got your subtitles. Let's use some brain work here. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to open my subtitles, okay, in Notepad. And I'm going to highlight Control A and then Control Copy. I've just copied them all. Now here in my Chat GPT, I come here and I go, hey, chat, SEO description creation. I've already taken this chat and I've primed it with some commands to help me with, but you can do any of them. Just go, all right, now I created a top 10s video. I need an SEO packed description, script, and some keywords for YouTube. Okay, here's the text of the script. Okay, paste that shit in there. Boom. Now I've used the subtitles to go to this right here. This is Top 10 Regrets Having an Atheist. What we wish we knew sooner. Boom. That sounds like a goodie. It's even better than what I had. Let me just paste that. Copy, paste. Come down here. Description. Have you ever looked back at it? Even this bitch even put in the time frame things, didn't it? That's cool. I've never had it do that before. Son of the bitch, I need to have it do that again. I'm going to do that because I actually have to go through. That was one of my next steps, was to show you guys how to get the timing for this intro. But what this has done, because I posted the thing in here, it even gave me the timing, the timestamps for the chapter. So now I'll just copy this and paste it. Description, copy. Just pretty much all good shit. It's telling you, here's your social links if you want to put them in there. And then you got your captions. I don't want those. I'm just going to do this. Well, yeah, let me do it. Well, it's too late. Let me copy. I'm going to come back over here and paste. Somewhere. There we go. Now I'm going to come down here to our description. Now I've got my general stuff. I like to, as I've told Durante, if you've got a book to sell or something, always have it, or anything. Like here's our perks to join the channel. Always have a link at the top of the description, and you'll see why. I'll show you in a second. So now we're going to go back and we're just going to Control Paste. And now we've got an AI created video description targeted to pull in views using search engine optimization, you know, rather than just having freaking nothing there. Now, one of the things that notice at the end here on our description there, we could have hashtags. So I like to put hashtags. Don't put more than 15. If you put more than 15, it ignores them all. It ignores all of them. So just, you know, all right, so let's go atheist. And then let's do for Ryan, let's go XJW. Oh, Evangelical will work. There we go. So, and okay, let's go let's Bible study series. Okay. So now you'll see, I'm not going to save this because this video is not right. Here I can come here and I can do upload the file for our thumbnail, or I can test and compare, right? That's where I said I try 3 different thumbnails. There's the place. You just put them in. I go to my folder. I pick the ones I want. Boom. It'll go back to the same folder this time. Boom. I just go in here for fun. Boom. And now it will test and compare between those 3 thumbnails. Okay. Now we've already got our hashtags. I usually already have these already filled in there. And then, pretty much set. But we're using the SEO or the subtitles that we created through the thing that we didn't have to go manually type up. It's part of our original script. You could copy and paste your original script in there in this description maker. But by doing it the way we did it, it did these other things. And then, of course, this right here, I have never noticed it do that before. I'm stoked now. That I could do that. So this here is, by the time we get down there, you've kind of covered everything. You've got it all the way. You've uploaded it. You're ready to go. There are other things like monetization. When I do the monetization, I'll turn it on. But one of the things about commercials is that if you run too many of them, people will turn away. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say it's approved. That's ad suitability rating. But I try to keep the ads, especially on the live streams, to the minimum. I choose the minimum. I don't know how bad it is on you guys who don't have it. Here's where you add your licenses. End screens. This is where we add that end screen where we go, add, and then you come in here and you go choose that one right there, because I know at the end I'm going to go, hey, choose over here for whatever, right? I didn't have that in this video that we uploaded. But then I can move this and adjust it. And the Chris that's there is going to go, hey, and I go here, change that. Oh, I don't want a playlist here. Delete a playlist. This one here is going to be for the one video, a specific video. Oh, I want that video. And then so now let's add an element. Add an element. It's got 2, add an element. Add an element. Video. Grab it, put it over there, click on it. Now choose a specific video. Top 10s video. Now we've set it up to where Chris points this way, he gets the video. Chris points that way, he gets the video. And it's really self-promotion at the end of the video. Oftentimes, and like I said before, you can watch these things, man, and whenever somebody's done with a video, you know it. You've gone to see a video, best fails or something, I don't know. And then at the end of the video, they're like, okay, it's been great. Love having you. Thank you for watching. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you thought. And you're already bounced. You're done. You got your message and you're out, So, guys, I think that was a lot very fast. We're going to do this again. As you can see, a lot of it's repetitive, though, especially with this cutting, pasting, stuff like that. We'll do this again next week. Vic, I believe, recorded. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it next week, and we'll record it through my stuff so we don't have to do this, okay? Sumami said I absorbed nothing. It happened so fast. Everything, it was a blur. I know, Sumami, I know. I think right now it's kind of like for the different stages. Now you know what you can do. You might have some ideas. Do some zoom in and zoom out. You can use the thing to create its own subtitles for you. It only takes a couple of clicks. You don't have to go through and type out subtitles. Bam, just a couple of clicks. You can use those subtitles, download them, export them, and then use them to create video descriptions for you. These kind of things. Right now, it's just the overall picture. We'll just keep doing them. Durante's got a head start because he's already working on the video editing part. So, do you guys have any questions you want to pop up and ask on the thing here in the stage? You're welcome to do the thing. I'm just gonna, if you don't have any, of course there's a lot, man. I think what we'll do is Wednesday we'll do another script writing thing, and then Thursday and next week we'll do the editing. Durante, I don't suppose you've gotten has the mail arrived yet? Well, good luck with that. I'm gonna go do stuff. Thank you all for joining me thank you all for joining me as I do this. I'll prepare more and we'll be better